Companies are continuously going through changes. It is a vital part of today's society. If it is a merger within the company, creating new businesses, or even branching out to other businesses. Change within a company is very difficult, however. Without communication, the change that the company is trying to achieve will likely fail. You have to be able to communicate effectively with your employees and managers. The undercommunication between your employees and managers is the most likely reason a program within a company fails. I have just read an article by Deborah Barrett called Using the Strategic Employee Communication Model to Facilitate Major Change. She states that the most useful tool for a company that is going through change is a strategic employee communication model. Because it provides the foundation for effective change, and it also achieves three primary purposes. One, it gets the management to listen to why it is vital for the company to have effective communication. Two, it is a tool to show the company their strengths and weaknesses in their communication process. And finally, it provides the foundation for the new program to take off and for the employees to act on it as soon as possible. Now that you know that your company needs to go through a change, you need to show the management team how important it really is. Communication is everything in a company, ranging from training to staff meetings or just regular day-to-day activities. Or communication is just publication within a company, which is where the communication team just sends out weekly newsletters about the company and has no real effect for the employees. That is why management thinks it's not that big of a deal. Companies want to go from the publication approach to the everything approach. The process of going from the publication approach to the everything approach is the first step to a successful communication program. Some characteristics to get the management team's recognition includes commitment, leadership groups, clear performance goals, well-designed playing field, right people in the right places, and meaningful communications. Now, meaningful communications achieves two primary objectives. It informs and educates employees at all levels about the company's strategy. It also motivates the position employees to support the strategy and the performance goals. Management's recognition is a major step to success of the new program for the company, and with the 5 characteristics I just mentioned, the management team will think that this might be a good idea, and in time it will be put into place. With that being said, when you get a program in place, there are 5 goals that you want to accomplish. One is to ensure clear and consistent messages to educate your employees. 2 is to motivate your employees so they stay focused on the program at all times. 3 is to encourage higher performance from each employee. 4 is to limit misunderstandings and rumors so that doesn't ruin your program before it even starts. And finally, align your employees behind the company's goals. Using the strategic employee communication model achieves all 5 of these goals. Now that we know management wants to fix the communication problem, and they know the importance of it, Deborah goes into more detail of the strategic employee communication model. First of all, the model comes from researching top companies within the Forbes 500 magazine and seeing what worked for them when it came to employee communication. Within the model, there are 7 different categories, and I'll explain each one in detail. 1 is strategic objectives, which is where the company takes central strategic messages like financial goals and it translates to where the company employees can understand them and put them into action. 2 is supportive management, which is where the top and mid-level managers must be involved and take responsibility within the company. Also, these managers must model the behavior they expect from their employees. 3 is targeted messages, which taking the company's information that's a little bit more complicated and translating it for each employee in different ways if need be. 4 is effective media forum, which is the company wanting to communicate face-to-face instead of relaying messages in email or other electronic media. 5 is well-positioned staff, which is where the senior communications officer becomes part of the senior management team and participates in major decisions. 6 is ongoing assessment, which is where the company monitors communication formally and frequently during each stage of the program. And then the final category is integrated process, which is where the company integrates the business process within communication milestones or goals. By using the model, a company can create very attainable goals for employee communication, and it can help in facilitating change within the company. Now that I shared what Deborah said about the strategic employee communication model, I will now tell you how I evaluated the article and how it's compared to our text. First off, I thought the article was a little bit lengthy and there was some vocabulary that may have been hard for some people to understand. There was also some run-on sentences that made it hard for me to capture the main points of some of the definitions she defined. Other than that, there's a few mistakes here and there in the article, but the article seemed fine and very interesting. Now, compared to our text, when I read this article, I immediately reference my text because there was a lot of similarities involving communication. The first few chapters of our text were all about how communication is required to earn credibility and eventually try to obtain empowerment within that company. Now that the model Deborah talked about in her article is an excellent way to obtain employee communication within a company and eventually empowerment. Also, developing functional maturity came to mind when I was reading this article because it was all about employee communication. The different steps required for functional maturity that the employee would have to do all related to this article. For example, demonstrating reliability and personality are all required for communication to be effective within the company. In conclusion, with the strategic employee communication model, you'll be able to accomplish a lot more within your organization and staff. Not only are you benefiting your employees with effective communication skills, but you're also benefiting your company by having everyone on the right page and everything can run smoothly. So whenever you go through one of those big changes within your company, remember that communication is the #1 priority for it to be successful.